What up, folks? Matthew Trammell here, joined by Mark Anthony Green. Welcome to another installment of Rick's Friend, the Elevated Conversation, brought to you by Tequila Avion. Today, we are drinking Cranejos, some Avion Anejo, or cranberry juice, orange liqueur, and agave nectar. So, drink up. Cheers. Yo, this is really random. But would you wear, as like the god that you are of sartorial circumstances, would you wear a leather made from cloned cowhide? Like artificially, like genetically engineered leather?
Wow, that's an amazing question. I'm assuming people are doing
it
that.
It exists.
Yeah.
It's out there.
But
yo,
they
actually,
doing this
so
because
it's
they
like,
don't want to hurt an animal?
Yeah, so basically
Then
there's
yes.
It's called like Modern Meadows or something like that, and it's basically just like the technology exists where they're like, oh, you can just take one little square of like cow DNA and then just make
a
leather.
bunch of. Why don't they? They should always do that.
Right. Like, even that existing, I was just like, oh, that's fucking amazing. Like, there's no argument against it. And not only can you do that, but you can get, like, woolly mammoth fur.
Yo, let's go.
Like, you could like, order, like...
listen, man, Rich Friend...
Saber-toothed tiger.
Listen, we're doing Rich Friend merch with the artificial cow leather, the mammoth.
Isn't that fucking wild,
We're
though?
going to do some stingray. I fuck with that. I think that there's nothing wrong with that.
Hell yeah. Like, even, like... It's just like there's so many things that you argue about with science that are just clearly like dumb to argue. Like it's like why don't you just use it just for that? Like let's just like not
and stop there.
Yeah.
Like let's stop there before we're making cows.
Hell yeah.
Let's just stop at pants.
Right. You remember the Cat Williams thing where he's talking about cloned cow meat?
Nah.
He's like it's like one of his stand ups or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, like they fucking made they got cloned meat and they're like the FDA like made it so that like they can have a certain percentage of like clone meat in like the real meat, and he's like, and they're just gonna give that to us? Like you didn't even try it out on some other people first before you gave it to us? Like y'all just gonna give us the clone meat? He's like going off, and I'm just like, yo, like I feel like Cat Williams knew too much sometimes.
Right.
Like sometimes I feel like he was just too much of a
top 3 stand-up comics of all time.
I mean I couldn't say my top 3 because I probably don't know enough. I've watched Richard Pryor. I mean, I love Dave Chappelle personally, but I'm sure there's people that are like better than him. Jerry Seinfeld's good. Robin Williams is amazing at stand-up.
He is
low
good.
Key. Fucking Ellen is really good at stand-up. You know who's good? There's this woman named Ali Wong.
Yo, she's sick.
Fucking fire.
Yeah,
man.
She's sick with it. Check out her Netflix special.
Yeah, I watched it, and it was just like, oh, word, like, awesome. Like, she's hilarious.
Yeah, she's sick.
Her thing about the, Tai Chi, like the women that do Tai Chi in the park, when she's, like, swinging her arms, I was fucking rolling. Like, yeah, she's hilarious.
I'm going Chappelle #1, greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty undeniable.
Chappelle's the greatest of all time.
It's pretty undeniable.
Then I'm going to go with...
I mean, you gotta put Bernie up there too, I guess, right?
I'm gonna put Eddie Murphy #2.
Really?
Yeah, and then my third one is super rogue and random, and nobody agrees with me, but it is how I feel. Jamie Foxx.
Really?
Jamie's stand-up to me is like some of the best stand-up of all time.
I feel like a lot of those '90s guys came in a time when it was just kind of goofy, and they kind of came at the right time and like got off and then like got into movies and shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it was like, okay, now I'm just famous, but I don't know. I can't say that I've watched
Eddie Murphy like Raw and Delirious?
Yeah, those I've watched, and
is it too much like watching yourself?
I feel like that's funny. I feel like I walked into that. That's good.
Is it just too close to home?
That's funny. Nah, I feel like it hasn't aged well. You know what I mean? As much as people are like, Eddie,
that's a good point.
But it's like you watch it now.
Stand-up comedy doesn't age well.
Yeah, though. That's what I'm saying. Versus Dave, his stories were just so crazy.
Whoa.
That he will never like.
Right.
His yarns were just so
like
far
an island.
spun.
It
you know?
really
yeah,
is its
like
own
you
thing.
could never really like, you know. Him being like, "There's a baby standing on the corner" is just always gonna be
This is-
fucking funny. Like,
I
always.
said, baby, what you doing out here?
Like,
Selling crack?
Yeah, like the baby was selling weed, which is even better. It's like a small, like it's not even, you know what I mean?
Yes,
It's like
yeah.
I'm just like,
Dog.
but fucking yeah.
Dave.
Nah, Ali Wong's like that shit was actually like a pleasant surprise to discover.
She's sick. You know what stand-up is really good that y'all should check out if you haven't on Netflix is Michael Che's. Michael Che is fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
You should check that out. I feel like I've talked about it on the show before.
Yeah, nah, I don't. Maybe about him, but it is good. Gerard Carmichael is good too.
Yeah. Gerard Carmichael told a really funny joke about Chick-fil-A where he was like, yo, I'm really tired of people bashing me for liking Chick-fil-A. I know that they don't support gay people, but like I love Chick-fil-A and it's wrong to criticize people for loving what they love.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I was like,
Yeah.
That shit is funny.
Yeah.
That shit is fucking funny.
I don't know if his show is still on or not.
I have
hope
no
it's still
idea.
on.
I never watched the episode, but I wish the best for him.
Yeah, right?
I don't know. Do you watch Blackish? I heard Blackish is really good.
Not really, honestly.
Not
I have
really?
seen it.
You've seen it?
I've seen it, but I don't like I don't like tune in, you know?
But do you think it's good? If you told me it was good, I'd believe you. But no one that I would believe has told me that it's good. And I want y'all to know it could totally be fine. Like it could be a good show. I need somebody whose opinion I respect about you.
I feel like those shows, Blackish and Fresh Off the Boat, which Ali Wong writes for,
Right.
they both changed a lot. I feel like you can't really say if they're, not to say you can't say if they're good or not, but
It's
like,
more about like, are they
keep,
important?
They keep adapting and trying to change, so you don't really get a sense of the show's identity. You get a sense of like their circumstances
and
you know
their
what I mean?
purpose.
Yeah,
Like it
right.
seems like they're more news reactionary now.
Or
like,
even like they're trying to figure out the formula for this thing that they're trying, where like, okay, we can, you know what I mean, like how topical is it versus like just anecdotal, or how much is it like just family issues versus like cultural things versus like immigrant things, like there's a white family on Fresh Off the Boat now. There wasn't no white family before. And I was like, where'd this white family come from? Like, why are they like the secondary characters on the show? And, like, how did that happen, And the mom, who, after I watched the Ali Wong stand-up, I was like, oh, the mom, Constance Wu, definitely like styles her character after Ali Wong's. Like, that's definitely where the mom came from, because her cadence and the way that she talks and like her, like the character that she goes into when she does stand-up is like the same as or like very similar to the mom on the show. And I didn't realize that she wrote until she said it in the special, where she's like, I write for Fresh Off the Boat. And I was like, oh, that's sick. That like, because the mom is the best fucking thing about that show. Right. Like, she needs to just have her own spin-off. Like, yeah,
What were your shows growing up as a kid? Did you watch like Family Matters, Saved by the Bell? How old are you? No, I'm joking.
I know, right? The Simpsons has been my favorite show for like probably close to my whole life.
That's on brand. That is an on brand.
Is it? But it's like lame because it's like the biggest show, so people always, or I don't know, like I never really talk about it or claim it like that, but it's always been that really. Like always from I remember the first time I saw it, my mom was trying to tell me that I couldn't watch it, and obviously that made me want to watch it.
Exactly.
And I was just like, oh yeah, like everything about this makes perfect sense.
I used to be a diehard Simpsons fan. I had like collected all of the Pez dispensers and games.
Word.
And like I had a Simpsons collection.
Damn.
But it was the same thing. Like the moment your parents tell you can't watch something, and then she just kind of gave up and let me watch it.
Right.
And then Family Guy, like I was always really into I was into cartoons well before
the
adult ones, like But I don't know. I'm trying to think of what was like.
Definitely, yeah. Fresh Prince was rocking without question.
Fresh Prince was perfect.
As far as like sitcoms and shit,
Yeah, I don't really have like oh man, that was a left field answer. So I'm not sure that I'll.
Nah, I
like
mean,
change the world.
TV
here.
wasn't left field.
Yeah, like we watched. It was a golden era.
It was just what was on.
Yeah,
the people that decided what was on were good enough that it never had to be left field. It was just like, oh, this is just thank you, TV people.
Right. Yeah. Like, I've never seen an episode of Seinfeld.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm definitely a Seinfeld enthusiast without question.
I've seen every episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm though.
So why don't you watch Seinfeld?
At this moment, I guess it's more protesting. I mean, I had to go out of my way to watch it because I don't have cable. I just have Apple TV and stuff.
It's on Hulu.
I don't have a Hulu.
I'll throw you the password, bro.
Oh, wow. Legend.
For you, for Mark Anthony Green.
Legend.
I'll throw you the password that I get from my boy.
How many heads on that password?
Right, like,
Be about 15 heads on that password.
For Seinfeld,
that's so generational.
Yeah, man. Because, I mean, basically, the shows are basically exactly the same. So it's just like you just get more Curb then. If you've already watched all of it, you just get more.
You know, there are new Curb episodes coming.
Yeah. No, I saw
Larry David, God level.
Yeah, man.
Such a legend. I love how, like, young people have embraced Larry David as, like legend. Like, you know what I mean? There's something about even his show, like the way it's shot and everything, it just really seems like a show for our parents. But, like, like, I feel like Larry David and Bernie Sanders, like, I know that he plays him.
Yeah.
But, like, there's a lot of similarities between the two.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, we really wish that this dude was our grandfather. Like,
this is one of my favorite words to use. If you most likely know it, but he's very avuncular.
Nah, that's the next level.
Of or relating to an uncle. Or having the properties of an uncle.
That's the greatest word I've ever heard.
Very avuncular.
Yo, what other podcasts are giving y'all motherfucking vocabulary words? Yo, if Avion's not giving y'all all the sauce out here with this man, come on.
Yo, yeah, no, it's a good one.
Say it one more time.
Avuncular.
Damn.
Yeah, it's true. And so we just, we're just like, oh yeah, it's Larry, it's Uncle Larry.
Yeah, for sure. What a legend.
Yeah, man. Fucking, I don't know. And then there's just like, there's also the thing of like, he doesn't really seem old. Like when old people do not old shit, it's funny.
Yeah. Did you see his movie?
The
one about the car with Jon Hamm that was on HBO. Yo, it's super funny.
Crazy?
Dog, check it out.
Yeah, I
check it out. And if y'all at home, if you haven't seen it, check it out.
Yeah, he should probably be like a bit more famous than he is. Or like more like, I don't know, like he shouldn't have to have waited this long maybe. I guess like when you're running, if you're running a show, then it's like you're not going to be in the foreground, So
but don't you think he kind of has the best level of fame?
Right, no, it's true. It is true.
Like, don't you want to be, you don't want to be Seinfeld famous, you want to be Larry David famous.
Yeah.
Where like you're beloved and everyone that knows you is shocked to see you. But like you could probably like go to Harlem and navigate around 125th and nobody fuck with you.
Or just I don't even know if it's a street or if it's like if you're in a car, people won't stop you from driving.
Right.
You won't be accosted.
Right.
Let
me ask you this question. What was your television crush? Like this was the one on the television show and like she was the one you were crushing on.
Maybe Myra?
Yo, Myra Monkhouse.
She was bad.
Wow.
R.I.P.
I mean, we might have disagreed on the last podcast, but on this one, we seem to be pretty in sync, brother.
R.I.P. to the guy.
I know. She died because of sickle cell?
She had something crazy. Maybe lupus, I think.
Jesus
something
Christ.
Wild.
Yo, Myra Monkhouse was a baby. And you know what's crazy? Not to say that anybody is more attractive than anybody because beauty's in the eye of the beholder and everybody's somebody's child. However, Laura... not nearly as tough as Myra.
She didn't stand a chance, man.
But Steve was always throwing himself at Laura, and I couldn't really respect that.
I mean, he was a weird dude.
I couldn't really respect that. Turned to Stefan Arkell and shit trying to bag her. And at the end of the day, Myra was a babe.
He liked cheese, too. Cheese isn't that good.
Cheese is amazing.
He had bad taste.
We were doing a thing, dog. We were together on this.
No, I'm just saying. It's like you don't make that your favorite food.
Cheese isn't a food. Cheese needs to be melted on top of something.
This is what I'm saying, right? That's what I mean. It's like it's not like he's just perfectly on the money in other areas.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah, he's a wild dude.
Yeah, fucking. I saw 20th Century Women. That was really good.
What?
This movie. It's like set in 1979. In Cali, and it's basically like an autobiography movie about the director, but it's like this dude and his mom, and he is like 15 or 16, and his mom is like trying to figure out how to like raise this like teenage dude who's like now starting to go like be an idiot with his friends and like do dumb shit or whatever. And so she has like they run a boarding house and there's like two older women that are like younger than her but older than him that live in the building with him or in the house with them, and she's like, oh, I want you guys to like hang out with him and like help him out or whatever. So it's kind of like it's just like out like what that time period was like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a tone kind of movie for like that period or whatever, and it was really good.
It was, it was dope was how Hidden Figures did at the box office.
Oh yeah, that shit was dope too.
People went out and supported it.
That movie was fucking awesome. Yeah.
If you went to Morehouse, they shot like a lot of the scenes where she's running on campus and stuff. Like anything that's outside is basically shot on Morehouse campus. Oh wow. Which is like, oh, that's tight. It's always great to see your alma mater. But then you realize that they didn't change the campus at all for it to look like it was in the 1970s. And then you're like, oh man, that's probably not that tight. Like it's kind of like not that dope. They literally did not like. If you go to Morehouse right now, you're like, oh, this is NASA. Like, no. This is just...
That's amazing.
Is it, though? Is it?
Well, all campuses look old.
No. But it looks... It's not that it looks like old. Like, Columbia looks like old and historic and, like, Cambridge. Like, nah. Morehouse is like, we just need new buildings.
It just looks dated?
Yeah.
Like old wallpaper?
Yeah, it's not like, this building was built in the 30s. It's like... No, this shit was built in the 80s and looked old in the 80s.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Damn, nah, that's cool. I had no idea that they did that.
Yeah, man, a lot of shit is filming in Atlanta. They film Walking Dead in Atlanta. It's like...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it's just cheaper. Shout out to Kasim Reed.
I feel like I heard that.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I don't know if Atlanta's bounced back yet. I mean, it's been a couple weeks, but from that Super Bowl loss.
Man, they'll be fine. A lot of people lose to New England all the time.
That's true.
That's like, it's motherfuckers recover.
You gotta deal with
that.
it, right. You
That's just, they're just there.
Right.
Wow. But I mean, yeah, I can't imagine Atlanta staying down for too long. It just seems like such a magical place. I gotta get back down there soon, man.
Yeah, we've only been once, right? Mm-hmm. We gotta get you back down. Yo, we gotta do Jeezy. Yo, Avion, get us on the phone with Jeezy. Have him fly us out. Yo, doesn't that seem like a million years ago when we sat down with Jeezy?
Kind of.
It seems like a long time ago.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't listened to the episode where we sat down with Jeezy, sit down with him. It's funny.
Are we gonna do a clip show?
We gotta do that. The greatest hits. We gotta do that at 25.
Wow.
We gotta do that. And it's basically just like we gotta do a thing with like our best insults to each other.
That's so wild. The best, worsts.
The best.
And the worsts.
Right.
Or the
worst,
that's
best.
Fucking wild, man. A clip show. That's so funny. We're definitely doing that if it fulfills contractual agreements.
Yeah. We have no idea. We're making a promise right now.
Right.
Like that. Right. That shit may never happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. What can you do? Yo, man, I'm super excited for this guest today.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Yo, folks. So, the homie just came through to the studio. Big Himanshu Suri, aka Heems.
Yo.
Young Heems.
Fucking
Airplane Herman.
Hell yeah. You may know him from his various musical endeavors or some of the other like weirder, cooler shit that he does. Obviously one half of That's Racist, one half of the Sweatshop Boys. Puts out some really good raps by himself too. Also is now, I think, like throwing shows and doing other kind of cool shit on the side. So we might hear about some side hustles here and there. But yeah, man, thank you for.
I feel like West Indians get all the credit for side hustles.
Right, like he's got 6 jobs, like
East Indians just sitting around doing nothing, right?
Right, exactly, man. Shit. Well, yo, thank you again for coming through. Hope you.
West Indian versus East Indian is a show I'd watch.
Yeah, that is good. We should
where you and Trammell
came in on that, right?
You and Trammell become roommates.
Hell yeah.
It's called cricket.
Basically, right? Exactly. Football. Shit, man. What you been up to? What's going on?
Not much, man. Sweatshop Boys keeping me busy.
Yeah.
Doing like Coachella and Primavera this year.
Can I just say that it's like, it's crazy that like happened. Like, I don't know if we haven't really like processed what the fuck that was, but I remember you telling me about it like way before the fact, and I had no idea who Riz was. None of the shit had came out yet, and you're just like, yeah, yo, like me and like my boy, like this dude is like this actor, like we're gonna put this album out, and I was like, yo, like that's probably gonna be sick. But then to see it and see what, like the timing of it and just how the whole shit played out is actually fucking nuts.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah.
Do you think he killed that woman? Because I think
it's hard for me to like
think he might have done
separate
it.
him from the show. Yeah, I mean it's really up in the air, right? Like I don't know. You know, people ask me that. I'm like, I don't know what.
So if you don't
know, it wasn't really my friend, right?
Yeah. No, so Riz, I mean, just in case people don't know, Riz Ahmed, the very, very talented guy from the night of,
and Star Wars,
and Star Wars, is
and
your...
Four Lions, is that what it's
that
called?
Was his big. His,
that shit is also fucking wild. But continue.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's who you rap with, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen. I didn't know that he rapped until it was like some late show, and they were like, "Oh, rap for us," and then he rapped, and I was like, "Oh, he can rap."
Yeah,
I didn't believe it at first.
He comes from like drama and spoken word, so you could see there's like in some ways like spoken word to rap, drama to spoken word to rap. It kind of makes sense when you.
But that's the worst way to get to rap, though.
But it, like recitation, you know, like he's like that's not how you came to rap. You came to rap from fucking rapping.
The worst way to rap is.
He was doing like battles and stuff too. No, I used to like doing spoken word, but then like, and I guess in some ways the foundation of That's Racist came by like, I went to Wesleyan and it was like super arty, you know, poetic vibe. By senior year, my spoken word poems would be like, I am selling these sneakers if you want to talk to me about it, like, you know. So it just kind of shitting on it, but also like a checklist of things I had to do. And so just kind of that element of, it's funny because, and it comes out in our music, like I kind of take the piss at like spoken word and he's kind of serious about spoken word, and somehow when we do our shit together, it somehow works.
Right. So you started rapping while you were at West, or you were just kind of fucking around with it while you were out here, or what?
I started at Stuyvesant in high school, like, because all my friends would play sports or play Madden, and like I just lacked the hand-eye coordination. So me and like my two other friends would end up rapping instead. And then at Wesleyan,
how many careers are birthed because somebody didn't have the hand-eye coordination of their friends?
That's a good question.
Because I know you, Trammell, your hand-eye coordination is ass.
Right. This is a fact, and here we are.
The big leagues.
Right. Exactly.
Straight up.
Yeah. But yeah, like I feel like I don't know, like I always hear so much about Wesleyan and like have friends that went there, and like it's always just such special kinds of characters that like come from that school. You know what I mean? Like
it was kind of an insane experience because I had hung out in a pretty like mixed environment, and then I went to Wesleyan and I was like, oh, these are white people. Like I thought like all my like Upper West Side Jewish friends that listen to like Mobb Deep are like, you know, the whitest it'll get. And then having like, you know, it's a pretty shishi school. Having kids with like Pro Tools and studios and mics in their room was when I first was like, okay, maybe, you know, freestyling. I started thinking of like those ciphers the same way I thought of spoken word poetry. Like, well, what am I doing? And then slowly I got a little comfortable. But it wasn't until after I graduated when like I went to school with MGMT and I saw what those guys were doing. And in a lot of ways I was kind of like, why don't we just copy that with rap and do like a psychedelic spacey thing, and you know, handle our interviews like that, but be good at rapping.
You got to be the only person to learn how to do real rap at Wesley. Like that's not the the traditional.
If recording is
incubator,
real rap, then But you know, I always put up a wall between like recording. It took me a long time to get to a point where I felt like, okay, writing and then recording versus just spitting off the dome. But I don't think I would get. And if you hear my flow, it sounds like, you know, it came from that. But yo, actually, Lin-Manuel Miranda went to Wesleyan. Bobbito Garcia went to Wesleyan.
Shout out to Bobbito, legend.
So there's a little bit of like rap over there.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Actually,
it's like
dope.
Leaf went there. So yeah.
It has like, I don't know, there's like I said, like these weird characters that come from that school. There's
Santo Gold.
There's some house that's like, what is it called? It's like
Eclectic Society.
Yeah, right? Like, and it's like, right. So you were what is that? Like what was that?
Here's some wild shit. It was like, it started as a fraternity, and then in like the 70s, like it got really crazy. And then the alumni were like, we're not going to give you money anymore. And then they turned it into a co-ed society.
Right.
And yeah, MGMT was in it. Amanda Palmer was in it.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon was in it. Leaf was in it. I was in it. And it's just kind of I guess it's a co-ed fraternity, but it's not what you would associate with fraternity.
Like the most anti-frat fraternity type shit.
And there were like real frats on our campus. So
Right.
this was just like the exact opposite of that, but we threw really good shows. Like I was watching like Animal Collective, Dead Meadow, like Unicorns and all this stuff like freshman year.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like that's, it's such a crazy time period that you're talking about. I feel like around the time when like that, like, when MGMT is like first blowing up and like you guys are like seeing that this is a viable thing that you could do, that there's like music with a capital M, and then there's like this kind of weird sort of like different space where like you can still like book and be known and get shows and get press and like have a fan base, but like you're not on the radio, you're not like whatever. We sort of like 6 whatever years later we take that for granted, but like that definitely was not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that time was really cool for like college rock music in a way where now most of those kids listen to like rap and DJs and stuff, but particularly back then. And so it was kind of that's why I started thinking about rap in those terms, like what would like a prog rock rap album sound like, what would psychedelic rap sound like, and it felt like being a part of a collective, but it wasn't like we're gonna bank on this Williamsburg shit. It was just kind of like where are our friends living, where's rent sheet, where are their artists, and then seeing my friends do it, though, being a part of like a scene, quote unquote, definitely made it more like, I couldn't envision it growing up, but made it more of a viable thing for like an Indian kid from Queens.
Right.
How did you meet Riz?
Me and Riz were, there was a girl I liked and she would talk about him a lot. And I was like, who's this other Indian rapper dude? And so I reached out to him on the internet, kind of like I said it was like a digital brown man nod, like, hey, what's up? I see you. And when he had to study the role for the night of, he was like, who do I know in Queens that's brown? And so he reached out to me. I showed him around Jackson Heights, started talking to him about accents, code switching, Queens. And he came back like a year later and was like, yo, we should start a rap group. All I got right now is a name, but it's Sweatshop Boys. And I was like, this is clever and punny enough coming from That's Racist, where it's like, and like the name was just, okay, so I know what the project is right from the name.
Right.
Yeah. So it was cool.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting question I wanted to ask you. Is like, some people take music and art super seriously. And even the way you just described that, it's like you have a name and then you know what the project is. And it almost seems like you creatively step into a role and then do that. But then there are people that like the hip-hop truthers, they like take the shit so seriously. Do you think that that's kind of bullshit? Do you think that, there should be a blend of both? Or
Well, I wouldn't say it's so much like stepping into a role. I mean, if it didn't feel like it was natural, I don't think I would have done it. And the role really was being a South Asian talking about Islamophobia and race and stuff. So it wasn't so much like stepping in a role. But I'll say I'm somebody who writes like really quickly, doesn't go back and edit, and just almost is like, it's like looking in the mirror and I don't want to do it. Or it's like, hearing your voice on a phone or like seeing an old video of you and being like, so I don't take it that seriously. And I know a lot of like the institution of rap in the past have like looked at, just like you said, hipsters, who are these kids and stuff.
Right.
But I think with a lot of like, the same people that were kind of hating on my shit because we were hipsters or weren't like hood enough, at the same time I would go and work with artists that I really respected, or built up a good relationship with Sean Price, somebody like that who so rest in peace. So there was a give and go between like the institution of rap and what we were doing, or like there was a relationship, but it was mostly put on by like fans that didn't get what we were doing to say that we weren't taking it seriously.
And I feel like it's weird because especially the past, like we've had like a few episodes now where we like get like really into that conversation or whatever. We had like Clark Kent on, obviously he was like fucking legend and shit. Shout out Luke, he just walked in. What's good, bro? What's going on?
Man, you gotta careful with that beard. I'm telling you, they're not gonna let you back in this motherfucker.
And fucking Yeah, and it's like for me, it's like, and I feel like for guys like fucking P and like Mayhem and like LP and like those guys, it's like, oh nah, like this is like a dude from Queens that like raps good as shit. He's just talking about something different, or he just has like a slant or a perspective that's different. But like the actual like raps are good as shit, you know, by you know what I mean?
Like, or like, you know, half of those dudes came up on like comic books and art. And
hell
like
yeah,
there's
like
a
weird,
thing
like,
where
yeah,
if you only
if you only
turn to rap to associate it with like a lifestyle that you can't relate to, then you're gonna look for certain things like that. But if you look to rap to you know, to like Ramelzy and shit like that, there's equal influences to take. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's broad, definitely. I mean, yeah, fucking. So I mean, I would imagine like obviously, you know, you talk about like growing up in Jackson Heights and shit like that, like seeing like the life that you saw and the culture that you saw in the neighborhood that you grew up in, like to this day is still so much a part of like what you do or whatever. And you still are like, I think you live out in like what, Long Island now, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. So like what
Hicksville, Long Island is actually called.
That's so wild that that's really a place.
Mm-hmm. And it's all
dog
like,
Niggerhead Ranch. That's where Rick Perry. Like, is that really that wild, bro?
I haven't heard of Niggerhead Ranch.
Rick Perry, who almost became president.
He's the energy secretary.
Yeah. Like Rick Perry's, he's a real guy in the world. He owned Niggerhead Ranch.
Wow, that's amazing.
They tried to buff it out too, and it was like still clearly visible. Yeah. Old photos.
Yeah,
they like repaint the sign.
They're like shredding the station areas.
God damn.
Yeah, no.
It's just like, so the annual softball game between Hicksville and Niggerhead Ranch is like definitely.
Yo, you wanna know what? Just talking about growing up in Queens, this is what. So before we like started drinking, we would still play sports, right?
Yeah.
We used to play Third World, which was our crew, against WOW, which was Whites of the World.
Yeah. On Coca-Cola, you talk. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was real. Yeah, we literally used to play Whites versus like Browns.
Yeah, it was like, and like the one Spanish dude still had to be on the white team. It's like sorry, bro, like that's fucking hilarious.
Caucasian, Latino, so
but
had to. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
But it's like, but even that, it's like there's so many weird. You get so many weird blends of shit in places that aren't just the average. You know, just like Harlem or just like whatever. Like, you know, places where you're used to hearing like music come from in that way, you know? And I feel like that is what that always drew me to your stuff, because it was like teaching me about something that I felt like I knew about but didn't know about.
And in a language that's like understandable, because it's not purely that thing.
Right.
I think about this with like how like Americans look at London and Toronto now in a way.
Yeah.
And, like, so when I think about Caribbean music, Indian music, rap, like Queens, you know, like it all. That's where a lot of my like music shit comes from, is that
definitely
3 different cars pulling up, blasting 3 different types of music, and what that like cacophony of sounds like.
Right.
And depending on where you are, that, you know, it's especially Toronto, London, and New York. They're different genres, but it's kind of, you know,
it's wild
melting pot enough.
Yeah, man. It's wild how like Toronto's like coming to its own in that way,
bro. It's,
you know,
Toronto is if you've never been in Toronto, I highly recommend it as the weather gets nice.
As the key being as
the weather gets nice.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto, I like. It's not only the music. Like, you could you can go to a restaurant and it's like, you can get curry, but like then there's like some teriyaki situation on it at the same time, and then there's like a soul food bar at it. You're just like, wait, what?
Right.
The diversity is crazy.
Yeah.
How I feel like, you know, I'd be remiss to not ask you this Donald Trump situation. He's just.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
I know, right? Like
you're our first Indian guest on the show.
They used to say,
and last there's like 4 of us that do anything.
I was about to say,
can't get a hold of Aziz. So.
I was about to say,
yeah, Aziz won't call us back. Yeah, Riz is about to get a.
I know where I rank.
Yeah. Third.
I know what phone calls I get.
I was about to say, Mark Anthony told us, he shared with us on the show recently, that they used to call him Indian in high school. Like, they like knew, like, he had a brother and sister that went to school with him, but a rumor got started that he was Indian, and so people like actually
like,
thought
as
that
an insult, you used to be called Indian in school.
The worst thing you could be called was black at that school that I went to.
Right.
But I understand that it varies.
There was still a hierarchy.
Yeah. Trust. But I wore a proud. I mean, you know, do I look Indian?
Lightweight, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I took it as like
Low
a
key,
genuine like, oh
Trammell
nah,
was
you
like-
know
Trammell
that
was like,
dude
"You're
is
not
like,
Indian?"
yeah, like oh you know yeah that dude is like whatever like you know he has second period over here like
Come
yeah
on,
like,
Like Indo-Caribbean, or that episode of Real World Hawaii where Tech went to India and when he had a hat on,
my
everybody
God.
thought he was Indian, and then he
Yeah.
took it off and he
Yep.
had like the blonde afro, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're black."
Yo, where's Tech right now?
I don't know.
Who can find Tech? You
That's the next guest.
come to Richmond, yeah.
yo
come
I
to
feel like I
motherfucking
really
Richmond.
missed out on like Real World, like
you didn't.
nah like I
I
feel
don't
like
think you did.
I feel like I'm saying like I feel like I didn't like I knew it was on and I would like watch it sometimes but I didn't like you know what I mean I feel like I missed out on that shit like it
That
seems like it was
became
fucking
more
awesome.
like Real World Road Rules Challenge. around
Right,
the time
that's
Yeah,
when
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
definitely,
nah.
definitely.
I mean, there's just like some earlier seasons with moments that I feel like I recall, but it wasn't like I was a big fan.
Nah, that's
Yeah,
what
me
I'm
neither.
saying. Like
I never thought it was. I thought it was overhyped.
I hear people like make hilarious references to Real World, and I'm like, fuck, like I want to go back. Like that shit's not on Hulu.
Tech is funny.
Like
Tech-
you could go watch
Tech is a
Punk'd
human
right now.
being. It's always a
Hell
good
yeah.
butt of a joke.
I gotta dig into that.
All
shit.
the black dudes were funny. Every single one of them.
I will disagree. There were a couple. There was your man who did a Sweet Abu D.
Yo, he was a legend. Yeah, you gonna say something? I'll cut your mic off.
Nah,
That dude
because
was
I
a
know
legend.
that shit.
The dude-
like
He scatted. He was the only person to ever scat on MTV. Come on.
I mean, who else, you know who else scattered on MTV? The Scat Man.
I'm a scat man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I remember. Yep. Hell yeah.
If you
Hell
get
yeah.
Scat on MTV,
yeah.
that's
Good
the
point.
one.
Yo, what's
I
up with
sit corrected.
scatting? Like, what's good with that? Where's like who's doing that right? Where's the scat at right now?
Yeah, I think I heard last week that like Extra P, Large Professor, was really good at scatting.
Really?
Yeah.
You did, but that wasn't. He performed recently. You saw him at
He was
Main
not
Source. He was
scatting.
not scatting.
No,
Okay,
no,
all
he
right.
was not
I would believe that though.
Young Thug is scattish.
That is a good call.
When he's like yodeling, it's like half scat, half yodel, half East Atlanta.
That is a good. What does he? I'm trying to think of an actual. Fuck. It just sounds like he's scatting half the time.
When he talks, like if you listen to him just talk, it's so every word is so truncated. It's
Yeah, you know. I just. You know,
he's like
we up on
yeah,
Frank.
we sitting here with
Right.
the guy from
right.
Racist.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to like that's kind of scatting.
Yo.
Shout out to him.
That's wild. I did not consider that at all. He definitely has like he's like inherited like vocal stylings from like old jazz traditions in that way, like without question.
Do you like Young Thug? How do you feel?
Big fan. Big fan.
Yeah, he's
Yeah. I think when I hear Young Thug, I don't think scat as much as Sufi. I think like he has this energy of like either like a mix between like Velvet Underground and like Sufi, like Muslim mystical kind of like that, where you can't understand what he's saying, but you understand the raw feeling of it.
Right.
That to me is just super mystical, like Middle Eastern kind of music.
Are you? I don't want to make this assumption. Are you Muslim?
No.
You're not Muslim.
Yeah, so I did a podcast about Islam and Islamophobia recently, and and so I had to like we were talking about it, and I was like, I'm sure the first question is gonna be, why do you talk about Islam so much if you're not Muslim? And so just like, nah, I'm not Muslim. I grew up in a community that was all South Asian,
Right.
Muslim, Christian, Jain, Sikh, Hindu,
Yeah.
and so we all kind of grew up having. People didn't understand what religion we were, where we were from in India, and so it became this sense of like unity across divisions. Where back in India and Pakistan, we wouldn't be
Right.
able to hang out, and over here, it became like if everyone's going to think that we're all the same, then we're going to kind of assume a similar identity, or at least stand up for each
Right.
other.
Look out for each other. Yeah, exactly.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of where it
That's
came
really
from.
dope.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And-
like beautiful.
Even like I went to high school right around here, or in Tribeca on Chambers Street, and like most of my friends over there were South Asian, and so it was just like a mix of Muslim. And after 9/11, we were all there together, like blocks
Right.
away when it happened. Especially after then, it became a sense of like a community amongst us because we saw how, for one, people were treating our Muslim friends, and then for two, we were worried about our parents being treated the same way. Our parents had been treated the same way. We had been treated the same way.
Right.
So it became this sense of like, no, I'm not Muslim, but I don't even care to like make a distinction at this point, just because
to even broach it in that way is like the battle's already, you know what I mean? You're already like halfway in the wrong direction.
And a lot of Sikhs and Hindus at that point were making a point to say, no, we're not Muslims, so don't pick on us. When the attitude should have been, what if we were Muslim? What if we are Muslim?
Right.
Plus, I think that what you're touching on is important. It's like there's your religion, then there's your ethnicity, but then there's how you're treated, right? Like, I don't know how to call that. It's like, whatever. Like, that's why, the argument where black people, say nigga, it's because we go through we live in a prejudiced country, and you go through circumstances and there's like a lifestyle that obstacles we all have to go through. And you guys, even though you just named 6 religions, or everybody, there are people that are going to look at you, make snap
perception.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And so they're going to treat you like you are a Muslim from Iraq or whatever. There are some people that are going to look at you. They're going to have whatever fear that they have or whatever. And I think that what's cool about that, even though that's the most gross thing on the planet, but when it does bring people together, like it did with y'all, that's super dope.
The funny part about it to me, especially with Heems, is that like if you listen to if you go listen to Sweatshop Boys, you listen to fucking like Nehru Jackets or like your shit. It's like, and I've been thinking about this a lot. I feel like I guess kind of got caught sleeping a little bit over the past 8 years, right? And so you would listen to your shit, like you listen to Sweatshop Boys, which came out well ahead of this, right? And you guys are talking about fucking Terminal 5 before motherfuckers had to go protest at Terminal 5. You know what I mean? And y'all are like, hey, this is hey, I'm from Queens. Hey, I'm from fucking Hackney or wherever Riz is from. We're the ones that are here to be this is kind of still going on, and we are
it's
able,
not that
you know what I
different.
mean?
It's not that different.
And motherfuckers are kind of yeah, okay, and then it pops off, and you guys are kind of hey, we put this video out a month ago,
oh shit, people are killing innocent black people?
Right.
Whoa, what's Black Lives Matter? And it's hey, there's been something going on for 400 years.
Right.
So it's this thing where media doesn't move with the way one understands racism to move around them. Mm-hmm. Media will cover racism when this thing happens, and then it'll boil back down. But to us, we're always at the precipice of the pot. It doesn't boil up and down. It only boils up.
Right. This is kind of going on.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's not it's not it doesn't, what kind of tripped me out was the, when the Oscars went on and there was the whole Oscars aren't diverse enough thing was going on.
Oscars so white or whatever.
I'm gonna come clean. I fully didn't buy that shit and was kind of annoyed by it. Cause I'm this doesn't it's not oh, this is newsworthy this week because the Oscars. You and I work in media. Everybody knows media's habits. Something's going on. Oh, the NBA All-Star Game's going on. Are there some stories that are around that we can do? Okay, yeah, let's do it. You don't get to do that about glass ceilings for people of color. You know what I mean? That's it's what? And then it's
we need another race story. Racism's real hot right now.
It's that seems just as gross as the actual problem that's being discussed,
It's not as
I'm come on, Jada Pinkett,
gross.
Where were you at 3 weeks ago? Now you know what I'm saying? Your man doesn't get an Oscar, so now you're tight. What's up?
But that when you are if you're a brown person, black person in America, you got to deal with racism. It doesn't matter how much money you make. But if you're rich, you have to deal with that shit a lot less. If you're famous, you got to deal with a lot less than a rich person. If you're rich and famous, you got to deal with that shit a lot less. Now, what happened with that is that offended a bunch of rich, famous people.
Mm-hmm. So whoa, wait a minute. All right,
so
guys,
then
now we got it.
I'm just saying, that whole thing, of course you want to see more diversity.
You know what, though? I would argue that, while it matters being rich and stuff, it only matters if the people who are rich care about, their representation or their visibility. Because Indian people have dumb money. Indian people just don't give a shit about the betterment of other Indian people because we still feel like we're competing with each other. So
Black folks, too.
Huh? Yeah, I mean, I feel
there's
like
an
a lot
element of
of
that too. That's a good point, though.
Yeah, crabs in a barrel.
I mean, look how many Indian people are in like Silicon Valley. How many of them would speak up about racism? Because if Indian people care, the rich people know how to make money, and they know if they talk about race, it's gonna fuck up their money.
That's an immigrant thing too. I feel like.
Oh yeah.
When you already feel like, I mean, I'm outside of this period, no matter what. So where, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like I would imagine even, you know, you going into the arts, period, is kind of just like a step to the side from like what I would imagine is like, you know, like even in my family is like, oh yeah, like telling my like Jamaican grandmother like, oh yeah, I work in like music or I'm gonna write about music. Is that conversation is just, I'm just like, I'm employed. She's like, okay, all right, good. Like that's whatever. Like I'm not gonna figure out anything else because you're not a fucking lawyer or a doctor, so I don't get it anyway. You know what I mean? Like
my thing I get is more like if you're gonna do this like music thing, like why don't like do pop music, or if you're gonna do like, and I'm like, that's not really like what I do. Or, like,
you're like, but that's not tight, mom. Like it's not cool.
Or like
not
my
tight,
mom would be bugging when I would talk about my dad being a cab driver. She would be like, don't talk about that in an interview.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
like.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like if you have that audience, it becomes immigrants. It become even more, in my experience, like, oh, if you're gonna do it, then don't bring any negative energy towards yourself. It's almost superstitious. Like, don't talk about race. You'll let people then know about race, and then they'll use race to put you down.
Wait, how much was the night of? How much is
right.
the night of about your life?
I was.
How many similarities are? Hold on.
My dad was a cab driver.
Yo,
I didn't grow up in Jackson Heights.
Did
but I grew
Michael
up in
Kenneth
Queens.
Williams touch you? Are you?
I met Michael Kenneth Williams. He complimented me on my jacket and put his arm around me and said hello. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I fuck with Michael Kenneth Williams. That's the big homie.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Great actor. That's crazy.
Yeah. But that was at like the night of premiere, so it doesn't really count. It wasn't like
It wasn't in the show.
No, it didn't like happen like that.
Man, fuck that girl, man. I know she got killed and shit, but it's just like, yo, like you could have just chilled. My man could have just went where he was going.
Nah.
I was watching that show.
It's
It's
like, yo,
It's fuck
like,
the attorneys.
I get, yeah,
Fuck the
yeah, but I mean,
attorneys.
come on, man. Like,
Nah, fuck the attorneys. Fuck the DA. That was whack. And that shit probably happens all the time.
That girl was cool.
That's
I know
that's
like
very
8
nice of
girls
you.
like that.
that's what I'm saying. Like, you just like, you feel me?
What was the movie we were talking about last time? You seen a
Fuck,
movie
like-
about? What was the movie about? Like a
White girl?
White
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
That's Trammell. Now you trying to rattle
Yes.
Trammell's cage.
Yes.
You trying to get him to flip a table.
Anyone who has seen that movie and the fact that it came out and they like wanted so badly for it to be on like a silver platter of like the
Wait,
pulse
explain
of
what the
whatever.
movie is. And
No. The reason that I set that up like that is because anyone who has seen it or who knows of it knows how fucking abhorrent that movie is. Even if you're all for the like narrative or the space or whatever, like they just did a terrible job at.
Have you seen it?
You know?
I have not.
I haven't seen it.
And
Either.
so the
Trammell
night,
killed it
so
for
I
me.
went to see
Not
it.
after I got the review.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
so, like,
That's
I
what
went-
happened to me too.
I went and like like okay, first off, ground zero, fucking obviously kids, I feel like it's like if you're from New York or whatever, then you like kind of it feels like a special kind of movie, whatever.
If you
without,
hate on
you know,
kids, fuck you.
No, so
If
then
you're
this is
too
my
cool
point.
for kids.
No. My point in bringing it up is that whenever there are a lot of people try to make. Oh,
I know.
this is the
I'm not
kids
saying
of
fuck
right
you. I'm
now,
saying
you
if
know?
you're at home hating on kids,
Right.
we don't care about you
So
listening.
it's
to the
another
podcast.
one of these movies that's like claims to be like this is the voice of a generation. This is the current youth in New York. Like blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like Dope tried to do the same thing. Fucking American Honey tried to do the same thing. Like so many movies try to do it. And so I'm like, I'm definitely gonna go watch this and like hate watch it basically. But I could not imagine how
much you hated it.
Yeah, and then I felt so like manipulated because I was like, she wants me to hate it. Like she made it so that I would hate it and then like give it a bad review and it would just be more press about her stupid movie that she would be able to say is controversial. And so I get out of the movie and I'm so like I'm reeling, feeling like just a cog.
What
in this
about it did
thing.
you hate?
Like just that it was so it was just like inaccurate and pompous and like obnoxious. It wasn't like
What specific though? Like she did this and that was
girl moves to Ridgewood and lives across the street from like an apartment building where a bunch of like Dominican dudes hang out, and one day in her like adventurousness decides to go downstairs and like try to buy weed from one of them, and the dude is like, yo shorty, you can't be walking around asking strangers for that. Nah, I mean, but also like I want to fuck you. So they start fucking, and then like she starts selling drugs for him, and then like blah 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 blah. It's just like the depiction of it is cartoonish. It's like a caricature. You know what I mean? It's not like there's a story like that to be told that's like legit, but that wasn't it basically. And it was like at every step it was like so heavy-handed, and so just like you can tell when a movie's bad, you know, regardless of your slant on it, you know. So that was my thing. It was just like this movie sucked.
But it could be bad and not be offensive. But this was offensive.
I'm not even saying it's offensive. I'm just saying that it was such a bad movie.
It was offensive in how bad it was.
Yeah, like that's my point. I don't have a problem with like the fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is just bad. Like you could make a good movie that had the same sort of milieu or whatever. So anyway, I get out of the shit and walk from. I guess it was at Angelica or something, and walk up Bowery to fucking the like Korean barbecue spot that has like 24-hour happy hour, and like sit at the bar, and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck to do right now. And I just text this fool and I'm just like, yo, this movie was so bad, bro, and I can't even explain how bad it was. And it's like we fucking like after the night of, which was fucking amazing, and after like the shit that you do, which is like so subtle and so like well considered, even though it's like telling, you know what I mean, like similar stories of like youth in New York or whatever, but it's like good. I'm just like, I can't believe someone was given a budget to make this and just be like, oh yeah, word, this is awesome.
I
like, go for
appreciate
it.
that. I'm
he was I know, right? He was just like, I mean, I haven't seen it, but it wasn't even. It was like
I seen it, but I'll shit on it with you.
Yeah, right. It was like quality rage. It was like taste rage. That's really what it is. It was taste rage.
One thing you said to me about it that I thought was fascinating was the invincibility of the main character.
So this girl fucking ruins her life, ruins the drug dealer's life, ruins her best friend's life, fucking like just fucks countless people over, just like dude goes to jail, blah 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 blah, just like wreaks havoc like a tornado of just incompetence in this plot. And then in the end, the movie ends, the final shot, don't go see it, I don't care if I'm spoiling it for you right now, I'm glad I'm spoiling it. The final shot is her sitting in her like first day of lecture at NYU after her first summer in New York. And the camera just slowly pulls away from her, and it's like all the kids in class like taking out their binders, and it's just like, and then she started school.
Yeah,
and
like
she'll
her life
never
was fine.
forget that faithful summer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and it's
meanwhile,
like,
homeboy's locked up.
Yeah, like, and I'm just like, is that really like, is there? And then Cameron, white girl plays, and I'm like, you personally wanted me to pass out. In this movie. Like bubbling
so
over.
Good.
That's cool. So,
but
not to like praise it, but if you make it sound like about the collateral damage of gentrification, but it wasn't. It was about her.
Right.
But it could have been an interesting
if there was
take
one,
on the collateral damage.
like you could have just get one little, just something to just give it like. But then I mean, it was a massive failure, so that's why.
So okay, let me ask you a question.
That's why I never even brought it back up until just now.
What is? I love that. What is one
Thank
movie?
you, Mark Anthony.
It makes me so happy. Yo, you should have seen Trammell that night. When I saw him, I was like, yo, you care.
I hate bad things, guys. It doesn't matter what color. If it's bad, it's fucking bad.
But like the camera, like them bringing Cameron into it was a low blow.
That made it personal.
What is one movie or song or album that you were like, someone made this to spite me? Like you watched it or a show and you were like, like this offends me on so many petty personal levels.
I'm shocked how many times I have that experience. Now that you put it that way, I'm just
like the Cameron thing though. That made it. They were like, okay, but we got to do one little thing to push Trammell. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I'm pretty strict. Like, let's go with like Best Hotel Exotic Marigold, or we could do what's the Wes Anderson one where the three of them are in India.
What?
The hotel
Budapest
Grand Budapest Hotel.
I fuck with.
I was about to say, yo,
the one where Darjeeling Limited. Darjeeling Limited. It's like
What is it? Okay, so break that down. Why was it so terrible?
Because like I feel like they could have focused on like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, look at the colors, and like the cinematography in a sense was just like putting it. It was just a bit of like Oriental shit where I wanted to see something, or even Slumdog, pretty much anything with Indian people in it.
They just haven't done it right.
They've never nailed it for you.
They haven't really. You know what was really good is Man Push Cart. Is a film that like I'm interested in like the working class stories of Indian people,
exactly.
right? And so even if a Westerner does it and it's in India, like Salam Bombay is a good one, right?
Wait, Man Push Cart. Say the second one again.
Man Pushkar is a good one. Salam Bombay, like I like Monsoon Wedding. I like Mira
Nice.
Nair.
Word.
Mississippi Masala would be like one
That
of the better
movie's
ones.
fucking crazy. I
Yeah,
watched that shit.
There
That's
are
mad
some good ones. What was the other like Ramin Barani one? Not good. Chop Shop wasn't really about South Asians, but it's about the chop shops in Queens, where where they cut the cars up and stuff. And
Word.
so those like when like they make an Indian thing for a mass market versus when they make like an indie film and it has like more feeling into it. I guess
Right.
is the
To me,
thing. But
Four Lions, honestly, like I haven't watched it
I
yet,
haven't seen it.
but like the premise of it alone is so crazy. It's basically like it's like a Judd Apatow comedy, like about like dudes that are like trying unsuccessfully to like implement or carry out a terrorist attack or like carry out jihad, but they're like bumbling kind of like idiot kind of characters or whatever,
Yeah.
and so it's like a
And Riz is in it.
so it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like a comedy about that, and I'm just like the fact that they even like pulled this off and that it
Yeah.
exists in the world, like I can't wait to sit down and take it in. But that alone is just like
It's a
funny.
feat.
It would
fucking
work
gold, you
in
know?
England. That shit would not work in America
At all, right?
Yeah.
It's a British movie, right?
Yeah.
And so you're like looking at it, you're like, okay, there's stuff that you can't like that's gonna get lost in translation just about how this could even exist. But like, damn, like they did it, you know? Like
Yeah.
it seems so wild, and it seems like it's good. Like it seems like people,
people love it.
Yeah,
People love it,
right?
Yeah.
My third, my
What's the movie
think-
you hate?
yeah, right.
the third Hangover.
What's the
movie.
worst wardrobing that you've
Nothing
seen
has
in a
offended
film?
me
Yeah,
more.
what's the film where the fashion made you very
yeah,
angry?
you're just like, I have to walk out of this.
like
This is-
Nah, that
Devils
never
Wear Prada
exists.
didn't live up to like.
Nah. That movie's perfect.
like,
don't
this is
don't
offensive
slander
and
that.
inaccurate.
You're
I
crazy.
love the movie.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
heard the
yeah.
outfits weren't that great compared to what it should be.
That movie's perfect. Meryl Streep is a national treasure.
Oh God, love her. There was initially I used to confuse her and Glenn Close when I was like super duper Indian, but then like over
Yeah, you got over that
time
shit.
I was like, oh Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep's the one.
I might still mix them up. I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
You just
Everyone
You just
just, gave me
don't
the
like white
craziest-
women. That's
Everyone
what-
just gave me the craziest look in the studio. I'm sorry.
Yo, we don't
guys.
do Meryl Streep.
My bad.
No,
I haven't
we
seen
respect
Devil
her.
Wears Prada either. I'm sure it's very good.
Wow.
I've seen Anna Wintour in person though. Flex.
It's probably
Stump button. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally backed away from my microphone. Love my job. Don't know what he was
Yeah.
about to say.
Right. I'm just
Literally
saying.
backed
No,
away
I'm
from
just
my
saying.
microphone. Did you see?
I'm just saying. I haven't
not-
seen the movie, but like I've,
Anna Wintour is a legend.
you know.
The third
Yeah, she's
Hangover
sick.
movie. Nothing has offended me more than the third Hangover movie. No
what
bullshit.
particularly?
Because I thought the first one was really funny and good. I thought the second one was a good sequel and smart. I was like, oh man, this is smart. But then the third one, they literally didn't make any jokes. And for some reason, I just remember sitting there watching it and being like, I would have rather like they racially offend me. I don't know. I just the whole thing. I just was like, yeah, this was lazy.
Yeah, they did this just to do it.
This was
Just
yeah,
for it to
This
exist.
is the laziest thing I have ever seen before in my entire life.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's
That's like-
bad.
that's
But the
like-
first two are like kind of great.
That's like Men in Black 2. Men in Black 2 was that bad too.
Shit.
And then
I
three,
think I
three
liked
was
Men in
kind of
Black
good.
too.
Nah, 3 was good. 2 was the one that was like just garbage.
Home Alone 3 was the worst. Was terrible. Home Alone 1 and 2 classics. Home Alone 2 better than Home Alone 1. These are facts. I will not debate this
I
on
haven't
this
seen Home
podcast.
Alone.
I've seen like the first of each of these things, but something about like trilogies.
What?
He's
Like,
Yo, what is
I don't
that?
waste hours of my life like y'all. I have multiple awesome careers.
No,
and, like-
but I don't know. Maybe it's the thing about trilogies. Like, I haven't seen any of the Lord of the Rings. I
Yeah.
haven't seen all the Star Wars.
What's your
Don't Tell
favorite
Riz.
movie?
Yeah.
My favorite movie? What, American?
Yeah, something that we can so I can say that's bullshit. So since you
Probably Blade or Hitch.
Yeah, I can say that.
Hitch.
First of all, yeah, I do fuck with Hitch though.
My man.
I can't. Rom-coms are my
Rich
shit.
Friend brought to you by Tequila.
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
Hitch is the fucking truth.
Yeah, I got
so good.
That's fair.
That's that movie.
Blade is
amazing.
impeachable, but Hitch is pretty
Blade
fucking
is
solid.
great. You seen that scene where like it's blood sprinklers on a rave? That's the greatest thing. I made a video once where I just put the song to the video of the blood sprinklers. It was great. It was just mad vampires in a party and one dude that wasn't a vampire. And let me tell you,
The hilarity
fucking
in
that dude up.
That's oh
funny
my
as
god,
hell.
damn man. I haven't seen Blade. Wesley Snipes has been
You never seen
amazing on
Blade?
Twitter recently, though.
He did what?
Wesley Snipes has been amazing on Twitter recently, though.
Oh yeah, he's been going ham.
My flex is that Wesley Snipes follows me on Twitter.
Let's go.
It's not the same as being
Rich friend, hell yeah, let's
Yeah.
go. Nah, that's fucking quality. Come on, man.
Dog, you have to DM. Can you?
Yeah,
you have to
what?
DM Wesley Snipes right now.
What do I DM?
Okay, we're about to DM Wesley Snipes, everybody.
All right, what do I
This
say?
DM is brought to you by Tequila Avion.
Yeah,
Shout out to it.
What's the?
I think you say, "Hey, bro, remember that scene in Blade with the blood sprinklers? That shit was sick.
I think you send him the video. I
Hope
think.
all is well."
I think
No.
you send him the video.
It just needs to be conversational.
That's too much like I'm hitting him
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Right, you're right,
exactly.
you're
It just
right,
needs to
you're
be
right, you're right.
conversational.
Like, hey, I don't want to check out my Blade themed mixtape.
Exactly. Come on, Trammell.
You're right, guys. You're right.
Okay, so wait. He's got his phone out. I gotta verify that he's in the DMs. Hold on.
Okay, let
Holy
me see.
shit.
How do I? Okay, so Wesley Snipes. All right.
Holy shit, yo.
Okay, I'm in.
I can confirm that he does follow him, and he is currently in the DMs.
Live. Okay. Hell yeah.
A draft
Hey,
of the DM is.
Wesley, loved the Blade scene with blood sprinklers. Any new work like that coming out soon?
Word.
LLM.
He's gonna fuck with it. Like he's gonna.
K.
Like, yeah.
Let me know.
LMK.
Let me know.
Yo. You,
Alright.
Wow.
you heard it here first.
Legend.
That's the art for this episode. Is just the
That's
screenshot.
it.
of
Yo,
that fucking-
screenshot it. Text it to Trammell.
All right, I'm sending that to you.
Rich
That is so fucking
motherfucking
fire.
friend.
Oh my god. Yo.
We gotta
yeah.
send a DM every episode now.
I mean, I don't know. I think that might only be.
One and done.
Yeah.
But they have to have somebody that follows them as dope as Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Have you guys
like,
been blocked by any
I could-
cool people?
Yes.
Everyone gets followed by
You know-
like
do you-
James Franco this past week.
It's weird.
Who's blocked you?
You know Roland Martin?
Yes.
Roland Martin?
Oh,
Portly
he
fellow.
like always wears nice suits or something.
No, fuck those suits. Nice suits. I'll unplug
What does he
your mic.
do though? What does he do?
He's like a political commentator.
He's like a
but he has no
TV1
neck.
news correspondent.
He's got no neck, but he wears
Oh.
ascots, and I think that too offends me. But a good friend of mine.
He's
who
like
you
the,
might know
the
on
Bruce
Twitter.
Bruce of political commentary.
Yes.
Would you say that? All right.
Shout out to Bruce. Bruce, you're always welcome on Rich Friend.
This just got so crazy.
It's so good. So there's a good friend of mine. His name is Van Newkirk. He goes by 5/5 on Twitter. He's a legend, and he just trolls Roland Martin. And there was a
specific dude.
dog. That's so good. And they've had legendary Twitter battles. But because like there was a moment where we were like starting a campaign trying to get him to have Van on the show to debate him. And like we were kind of getting like Roland was like tweeting back and like I think kind of considering it. And then I just we like pushed it too far and he just canceled. Like he just blocked the four of us trying
He
to
just gave you guys the fucking.
Yeah.
He just sweeped it.
Yeah, he just sweeped it. But like if you ever
What did
see
you say? What did your fucking like,
Dog.
how did you fuck it up for your boy? Like what did you
He's
say?
too funny. I don't even remember. But if you're at home listening to this, tweet at my man Roland Martin.
Be like, yo, unblock Mark Anthony.
Just say like, yo, debate 5/5.
You won't.
Yeah, you're scared.
Yeah, we could do it
ascot.
on here. We'll
Debate
do it
them for
on-
all the ascots. Yeah, exactly.
We'll do it on here, man.
Straight up.
That's the next CNN debate. that
Hell
they're gonna
yeah.
do.
Yo,
Hell yeah.
crazy.
Ted Cruz and Bernie.
That shit seems like a street fight. Like
It's
just a
kinda
rogue
fire, though,
debate.
man.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I'm saying
you
it's
know that's
dope.
how shit used to happen. Like in the '60s and shit, it used
Like
to be
Lincoln Douglas.
It used to be like fucking what's his name? The dude that was like the conservative Buckley, William F. Buckley.
Yeah.
It would just be like William Buckley and like this dude. That's like, and they're opposites, and we're gonna listen to them talk.
Because-
and they would have to be smart and know what they were talking about.
There
and,
was
like,
no
you know?
television programs.
Yeah,
back
like-
then. Like that was a program, just two people debating. Which
And
is,
it was just
which is
like,
pretty
okay,
sick.
like you disagree on theories that you're gonna support, as
Right,
opposed to
right,
just like fuck you.
But it's
Right.
probably going to turn, like, it's cool to see, instead of, like, you know, pundits debating with each other, people
Right.
that are actually have the ability to do
Right,
shit.
right.
But it's also, I think, like, contributing to wrestling feeling more and more like politics and vice versa.
Yeah.
Politics more
Yeah.
and more like wrestling.
Yeah.
we gotta wrap up soon. But
Yeah.
if you were a wrestler, what would your name be?
Tiger Ali Singh.
If you were a wrestler, what would your name be?
Like,
Now there was already a wrestler named Tiger Ali Singh. He was mad cool. He had like an assistant, and he would call out white people in the crowd and be like, "You white people, you have no money and no class. I'm a prince from India." And he had like an assistant with like nasty toe jam. He would like make white people come lick his toes. For,
my God.
For like $500. He would
This
be
was
like,
like-
"Who wants $500?" 90s. Late 90s.
Was this the what was the extreme wrestling one that wasn't WWF?
ECW.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
some damn.
This
That's
was
fucking
straight
live.
WWF.
But all of those people played
That's
into
amazing.
racial stereotypes.
terrible.
Like
Yeah.
when you look back at that shit, and I used to watch wrestling
I'm
as
sure
a
they
kid.
still do a little bit.
Nah,
now.
they kind of cleaned that shit up.
good.
That shit used to be bad. Remember the dude from Africa with the bone in his nose?
I would argue.
Papa Shango.
Yeah, that shit was
Yeah.
nuts.
But
they
they
could
also
never
had,
do that.
They also had the Nation of
yeah,
Domination.
yeah,
So it was like,
the Nation of Islam. Yeah,
yeah.
that shit was wild. I mean, you couldn't do that, but you could do it now in Trump's America probably. I feel like in Trump's America, some shit can go under the radar. Like you can get, you know.
Trump doesn't need to like do racism in wrestling. He's got
Yeah,
he's
there's
got
like real racism.
Yeah. Him and Linda McMahon.
I feel like
new,
Kurt Angle and John Cena were like pretty formative figures in like white identity.
Yeah.
There weren't necessarily those. John Cena especially. There wasn't like the
But think
like,
about it. All of the
yeah boy.
Think
kinda
about this, though.
dude. You know.
every major like this dude is a hero and wins. They were always white dudes that were like blue collar.
Nah.
Goldberg,
Dwayne Johnson.
Steve
Yeah,
Austin.
Come on. The
Yo,
Rock is the greatest wrestler
here's-
ever.
Yeah.
He's
No,
like,
no,
come
that's
on.
actually not true.
He's
Yes,
an
it is.
anomaly, perhaps. though.
Nah, it's true.
Dog.
Who beat him? Stone Cold. It took two Stone Cold Stunners to beat him, and even then, it's like who's in the fucking like who's literally like running Hollywood right now, and who's like hasn't been on TV since Punk. Like,
That's
come on,
just
like
because
The Rock
he's
is the
dope.
fucking man.
I'm talking
like,
about the storylines. If you look at it, the storylines, you go all the way back to Hulk Hogan. You go to, like if you look at it, it was all the major players were always
Yo,
white dudes.
I saw a documentary about the XFL. Like the 30 for 30 that came out. It is so fucking good, yo. Watch
Remember that
shit,
football?
yo.
Really? They made it. I just
They
remember
did-
He Hate Me.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
like they went back. It was one season, and they went back, and they were just like, "How the fuck did this happen?" So like Vince McMahon, the fucking guy who did Saturday Night Live, and like the two, like they came together, like we're gonna start a football league, and just completely failed. But like even now, like they're so rich and successful that they can look back and like laugh about it, and that's why the tone of the shit is so ill, because it's rare that you see a documentary about something that failed like that.
That shit is
where
legendary.
everyone's still down to give you all the access or whatever. It's so wild. It's really, really good.
Yo, I'm about to go on eBay right now and look for an XFL tee.
Well, that's where
yo,
that's
He Hate
yeah.
Me jersey. would
Come
be-
on, man. Yeah, like, and then at the thing, they had like this whole thing set up with all the jerseys and shit, all the like memorabilia. They were the first ones that did the sky cam.
Oh shit!
Like a lot of the shit that they did to make the XFL
revolutionary.
different, like the NFL then adopted like the year later or whatever, but they just couldn't. They couldn't make it work because it's like you can't start a football league in 8 months.
right.
But shouts to them for that.
I know you got to go soon, but last question from me.
Yeah,
now,
yes,
'cause
hell
it's my
yeah.
podcast now, right?
Straight up,
Hell
rich
yeah.
friend.
Do you think the He Hate Me on the XFL came first, or She Hate Me, the Spike Lee show?
She hate me.
She hate me?
She hate me. Definitely came first.
I don't know.
What do you mean? What are you talking
I don't
about?
think so. I remember She Hate Me.
Those are
No,
around
no,
the
no.
same time.
No.
It's close.
I'm wondering if She Hate Me was inspired by
No.
XFL dude.
It's definitely close. It's definitely close. We're breaking the no Google rule right now because that's such a good
I break
question.
it? Should I not
but-
break it? Okay.
She Hate Me is a wild ass movie too. Motherfuckers don't know. Spike Lee's like B-sides are fucking
Oh,
weird.
yeah.
Like he was getting films off. He was like, fuck it. Like, let's do this one too. Like, why not? Girl 6 is ill.
I haven't seen that one.
That shit is ill. It's like Naomi Campbell's like
Naomi Watts in a Spike Lee joint.
she's like a phone sex operator. It's crazy. And she wears the Model Suck Richie Akiva t-shirt.
Wow.
Which one was-
rare model suck?
Yeah,
Richie Akiva
yo,
t-shirt.
that's like the only time I've seen it in like media, and like Madonna's in it. Spike was just with the shits. What's
I
the
can't-
verdict? What's the verdict?
I can't figure out when He Hate Me came. Well, what? I can't figure it out.
We'll leave this open ended, and we'll like you guys will figure out this and like hit us back up with it because we should not be fact checking our rich friend.
We really
Luke
should.
might have it up. Do you? Have you give what's the word? Which came first?
The He Hate Me
Yeah, man. Yeah, yo, because that was close.
So you mean like
that's crazy.
Named this film after like.
That's so sick.
You can't believe in anything anymore.
Yeah, man.
That's bullshit.
Yo, don't say you don't learn anything on Rich Friend, guys.
Boom.
Right.
Educational.
Yo.
Educational.
It's my new favorite podcast.
Yo, come on, dog.
Awesome,
yo,
yeah.
I'm so fucking glad you came through.
Cool,
yo, you
yeah.
gotta fucking just come back and co-host sometime. You got good ass questions. Heems, fucking good fucking like shit. Your shit is fucking awesome. Like it's motherfuckers didn't realize how much they needed it.
Thanks,
you know,
man.
which
I didn't
is
know how
wild.
much like. It's, you know, last note since we were talking about it, it's really weird to make something and like we were talking about how like media moves and not for the album to be this timely to have kids yelling inshallah mashallah hopefully no martial law at airport protests.
Right,
exactly.
It was like I almost feel like weird about it. Like you don't want the timing of something to be like that, but like the timing on this thing just came out and it feels nice to have created something to kind of, you know, help give a voice of dissent.
It's the truth, man. And it's like at the end of the day, it's like people do a lot to try to fucking get around the truth or get around like whatever. You know what I mean? But it's like when you're honest in art, it's like that shit. That's the whole point of doing it.
It speaks to
period,
the idea of like
know?
make what you got to make and let other shit catch up to you or let people catch up to you. But you got to make what you know.
Hell yeah, man. Well, thank you again for kicking it. Yo.
Keep making that shit. And you know, let us know when Wesley hits you back.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, I can't wait for him to.
We might have sparked something, man. Then fucking Sweatshop Boys might get a new member or some shit. Who knows, yo? This shit could be so sick.
No, we're making Blade 4.
You get a little cameo.
Vampires in India.
Hell yeah, yo. Rich Friend.
Peace.
Rich Friend, the Elevated Conversation is a Loudspeaker Network production. Our producer is Matt Raz. Our editor is Tim Einenkel. Our executive producer is Chris Morrow. The views, opinions, and hilarious jokes expressed on this podcast are solely those of the host